Member from Toronto Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question to the Premier. Today I read about Victoria Menini, a young woman who did everything right but still can't seem to get ahead here in Toronto. Victoria works as a designer, a coveted job in her field, but she couldn't afford her rent on just that salary. So she also works as a bartender. Speaker, she works 60 hours a week and says she doesn't know when she's going to be able to stop living like this. The Premier could help her right now. Will she commit to supporting my bill to close the 1991 rent control loophole and help Victorian people like her?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, and I said earlier that I know that the member for Toronto Danforth understands. I mean, I know he listens to tenants' advocacy groups. He talks to individuals, as I do in my own riding, Mr. Speaker. And I know that some of the people, like Abbas Kolia, like Pat Moore, who have been working with me, Mr. Speaker, that he knows those people. He knows the concerns of tenants around the province. And you know, when he brought his bill forward, Mr. Speaker, on that very day, the Minister of Housing made it clear that this is something that we are concerned about and that we're moving forward. Mr. Speaker, we're going to be bringing forward a proposal for a number of changes, Mr. Speaker. As I said to the leader of the third party, there's no argument between us on this. This is something that needs to be done, and it's something, Mr. Speaker, that is it's a series of changes on top of changes that this government has already made. We look forward to moving forward. Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, concern and commitment are two very different things. University of Toronto housing advocates say that young people like Victoria may have the mistaken impression that it's their fault that their economic stars have not aligned. There might be a sense that they've done something wrong, reads the Generation Squeeze report. Will the Premier commit today, not just express concern, commit to taking the first step in fixing the mess that is causing so many young Ontarians to lose hope for their future? Will she commit to ending this rent control loophole now?
Minister of Housing.
Here we go. Well, Mr. Speaker, again, you know, housing affordability is on the lips of virtually all of us. I can't walk down the street without bumping into a neighbour who not only talks about the price of housing on our street, but the struggle their children face in renting an accommodation or buying their own place. You know, it's what I will commit to today, Speaker, as I said last week to the member opposite. That's why we're already developing a plan to address unfair rises in rental costs by delivering a substantive rent control reform a substantive rental reform in Ontario as part of an ongoing review of the Residential Tenancy Act. Mr. Speaker, we've been working on this since June of last year. We'll have a whole suite soon.
Thank you.